I can't say that word. Hi BookTube, it's Marianne at the Last of a Book, and today we are talking about my March 2021 TBR. So the other day I got an email telling me that the Ripped Bodice had announced their award winners for 2020. If you don't know what the Ripped Bodice is, it is the first romance-only bookstore to have ever opened in America. And to be honest, it's the only one I have ever heard of in the world. And it is run by two sisters, Leah and B, and they raised like $90,000 on Kickstarter to start up this bookshop. And for the past 2 years, they have been awarding the Ripped Bodice Award for Excellence in Romantic Fiction. I'm going to leave all the details for the Ripped Bodice in my description box. Unfortunately, they don't ship to the UK, but I know that there's people that watch who live in America, so you can order from them. They do subscription boxes as well as their books. They are very feministy, they're very sex positive, they're really inclusive. So normally when I read shortlists or award winners and stuff like that and announcements, it's usually very white. It's usually very straight, and it's usually very male dominated. So when I saw the list of award winners for this, I was surprised. We have authors of colour, we have queer romances, we have polyamorous relationships. It's what I needed to see that morning. So I don't know if I already said this, but there are 12 books on the list that won the award. Each author gets $1,000 and then $100 to give away to a charity of their choice. So some of these I am listening to on audio, some I'm reading on Kindle, some of them I'm reading physical copy, but I sat down and I haven't picked up the physical copies and they're on my bookshelf, but I'm not getting up from where I am to go and pick them up. So we're just going to put a thumbnail here instead because I am that lazy. So these are the books I'm going to be reading in the month of March. The first book we have is Go Deep by Rosie Adams. This is a novella and it is about Nevaeh, who is an erotic writer, and our readers are becoming a wee bit bored with the books that she's putting out. They're finding them a bit boring. So she's been celibate for like a year, so she decides to enlist her best friend Xander to basically have an arrangement where they sleep with each other just to kind of like spice things up a bit and give her inspiration for her books, and obviously feelings end up getting involved. Now I've been desperate to read this anyway. Everybody seems to have read it this month, so it's been kind of torturous keeping it on my Kindle, and I'm desperate to read it, but I'm holding out to March. I do have the self-discipline to wait. It's just really, really hard. The next book in the list is Harbour by Rebecca Witherspoon, and this one follows three characters. We have Brooklyn, whose fiance has just died, and she's also found out that he cheated, so she's not only dealing with grief, she's dealing with the fact that he had been cheating on her as well. And on the other side we have Vaughn and Chris, who were in a polyamorous relationship and one of their partners died. Now I don't know the circumstances around the deaths, because Brooklyn's fiance and Chris and Vaughn's partner were found dead together, so I don't know if there was an accident or something more sinister at play there. But Brooklyn, Chris and Vaughn kind of find each other and heal through a relationship. So it's a polyamorous male-male-female relationship, and there is BDSM involved as well. The next in the list is Spoiler Alert by Oliviadade, again one that everybody has talked about and I've been desperate to read. We have Marcus, who is a famous TV star who is kind of sick of how his character's storyline is going in the show that he's in, so he secretly writes fan fiction about his character online, and obviously and he has to keep it secret or else he's going to lose his job. And we have April, who also writes and reads fan fiction, and she does cosplay for the female character who Marcus's character is off to chat with. So Marcus sees her cosplay on Instagram or online somewhere and asks her out on a date. They have this date, and then it turns out that there's something there. He wants to see her again. It's not just a publicity stunt, but then he finds out that she is his online fandom friend, and that throws a spanner in the works, because then it could come out that he's been writing this fan fiction and puts his career in jeopardy. And I love everything about that concept, like 110%. Also, this is a body positive romance. We have a plus size female lead, so I really appreciate that, and I just can't wait to read it. I'm so buzzing. So the next book on the list is Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hubbard, and again, super excited to read this. Danny is not looking for love. She is looking for a friend with benefits, and she just wants to kind of focus on her career and not have the kind of love aspect involved. And one day, the security guard Zaf at her work has to rescue her after there's like a fire drill that's gone awry. Someone videos the rescue, and then everybody online is like totally shitting it. And so Zaf has this children's charity, so they agree to do the fake dating situation to appease the shippers and raise money for the charity. But then he starts feeling feelings, she starts feeling feelings, she doesn't want to feel the feelings. He's trying to break through this tough exterior that she's built where she's not open to having love in her life. So we have fake dating, which again, one of my favourite tropes, and a workplace romance. Not one of my favourite tropes, but combine it with a fake dating and I'm here for it. The next book in the list is The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows. I can't say that word. The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows by Olivia Waite. And this is a female historical romance. So we have Agatha, who is a widow and living on her own, and Penelope, who is a beekeeper. Agatha finds a bee colony in her warehouse, and Penelope comes to deal with the pest control issue, and they kind of like hit it off. But then Penelope's like estranged, long lost husband shows up, and she has to decide between whether she's gonna kind of stick in her safe life with her husband and her beekeeping and all of that sort of thing, or if she's gonna take a chance on this relationship with Agatha. So I am 100% behind this. The next book on the list is The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan. Again, another book I'm super excited about reading. This is a historical romance, and we have Chloe, who basically sends away her childhood sweetheart and is like, don't come back to me until you're serious about loving me. And he does. He goes away for 3 years and then returns and tries to woo her. But it turns out that he is a duke and he hasn't told her his real name. He hasn't told her his title. She knows basically nothing about his kind of societal position. So that could go horribly wrong. Also, someone told me on a Discord, I can't remember who it was, that one of Courtney Milan's books has epilepsy rep in it, and see if it's this one, right? And they have different social classes and epilepsy rep in the one book. I am gonna straight up be sobbing. It's completely unreasonable and completely irrational, but I am desperate for epilepsy rep in historic romance. So this could be it. This could be the book. The next book is another one that I'm really excited about reading, and that is The Recess by Scarlett Peckham. So we have Serafina, who is a feminist. She's very much fighting for equal rights for women, and she is a rakess, the female version of a rake. So drinking and living her best life. And she needs to raise money to fund her women's rights cause. So she decides to write a scathing expose on the man who ruined her. But then she meets Adam, who is an architect. He's a single dad, quiet, Scottish. And they kind of hit it off. But then she finds out that the guy who basically holds Adam's career in his hands is the guy that she is trying to expose and ruin. So she's left kind of trying to prioritise and make a decision as to which she's willing to sacrifice. It's a historical romance, so it's obviously going to have a happily ever after, or at the very least a happy for now. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. The next book in the list is The Roommate by Rosie The Man. Normally when I film videos, I go and check to make sure I'm pronouncing people's names properly. And the one time I forget, I feel terrible. Because I hate it when people pronounce my name wrong. So, The Roommate. Clara is a socialite, but unlike her family who are very loud and boisterous and everything like that, she's quite quiet and reserved. Her childhood crush invites her to move across the country and go live with him, but when she gets there, she's actually living with a stranger. So her roommate Josh is very handsome, very charming, and she decides, like most of us do, to look him up on the internet, and it turns out that his career could spell scandal for her socialite family if people find out that they're living together. But it is a romance, so I'm sure everything's going to work out fine in the end. And from his profession, I can only imagine an abundance of happy endings. The second last book that is on the list is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. And we have Carolina, who is a wedding planner. Unfortunately, even though she is a wedding planner, she got jilted. But she has this once in a lifetime opportunity to plan a wedding, but she has to work in collaboration with Max, who is her ex-fiance's brother, who was the best man at the wedding. And it turns out that Max was the one that kind of tried to get the brother to stop the wedding. So she's like looking for some serious payback. But they end up developing feelings for each other, but she doesn't want love. She's not interested anymore because of the brother abandoning her when they're supposed to be getting married. And he doesn't want to take someone who was once his brother's. So they're going to have to address that issue. But I'm excited. Did I just say that was the second last book? I hope I didn't. The next book in the list is You Had Me Ola by Alexis Davia. And we have Jasmine and Ashton, who are two telenovela stars, and she has this horrible public messy breakup and goes full strong independent woman. She doesn't need a man, and she is going to go and have a career and have a good life, and her public image is going to stay intact. Ashton's character has just been killed off in the soap opera that he was starring in, and he is basically thinking, well, that's my career over. But then both of them get cast together, and obviously they have to portray on-screen chemistry, so they rehearse in private and then have this behind-the-scenes romance that they have to keep a secret. While on screen everybody's seeing this really engaging, intense chemistry, she's trying to kind of keep it under wraps because, like I said, she has now got this image of this strong, independent woman, and she doesn't want to kind of sacrifice that by saying, yes, I am in a relationship with my co-star. So the next book on the list is the only YA title that is on here, and it's You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So in this book we have Liz, who feels really out of place where she is. She's in this school where she feels like she doesn't fit in. She's not rich like everybody else. I think that she is one of the only, if not the only, black students that go there. And she's like, I've had enough, I want away from here. She's going to go to this really elite college, get her degree to become a doctor, and then she's done, she's away. But the funding that was supposed to be given to her for getting into school falls through. Kind of, there's a problem with it and it doesn't manifest itself. So she's at a loss for how she's going to be able to go to this college. But then she remembers that there is a scholarship prize for the prom queen and the prom king. So she's having to immerse herself in this kind of high school culture that she doesn't want to be a part of. She doesn't like the limelight. She kind of just really wanted to go to college and then go away and have a happy life. But then she develops a crush on a new female student called Mac. Insert all of the drama. Are we going to have 2 prom queens? Again, this is one of those books I've seen everybody talking about and I'm really excited to read it. And the last book in the list is Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellefleur, and this is a female-female fake dating romance. Here for that. We have Darcy, who is a bit kind of uptight, very sensible, doesn't believe in any kind of what she views as frivolous and nonsensical, and unfortunately that includes astrology. We have Elle, who loves astrology and uses astrology as part of her career, and the two of them get set up on a blind date by Darcy's brother, who works with Elle, and it's a disaster. But unfortunately, because Darcy's sick of being pestered by the brother to get into a relationship, she tells him, oh, it went great, we really hit it off, everything's fine. And then the brother tells Elle. So then Darcy approaches her and suggests the whole fake dating situation. But it's gonna like be over the whole holiday period, like they have to go and be with her family and stuff like that. So the relationship expires on New Year's Eve, and they have until then to kind of figure out their feelings for each other. Obviously there's going to be a happily ever after, like how could there not? So yeah, those are the 12 Ripped Bodice award winners and the 12 books that I'm going to be reading in March, and I'm so looking forward to it. Also in March there is the Kindle Clearout readathon, which Jenn at the Book Refuge had posted an announcement video about. So I'll have a TBR for that as well. Some of these are going to be on it because some of them are on Kindle and audio. So we will combine the two. Yeah, that's on the 13th of March. So I'll probably post that around the 7th. And I've also done a Kindle Unlimited haul. So there is plenty on my Kindle needing cleared out. So yeah, that's the list. Those are the books I'm going to be reading in March. I'm so excited. I don't know if you can tell, I'm feeling a wee bit giddy. I don't know if it's like delirium because it's almost 3 in the morning. But regardless, I am excited, and yeah, so roll on March. Like I said, go and have a look at the Ripped Bodice if you haven't already. The links are in the description box, and I'll catch up with you guys at some point soon. So stay safe, happy reading, and I'll speak to you later. Bye!